there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about The Mandalorian, the TV show, the Star Wars TV show that's set the internet ablaze by being generally better than the more recent films. You know, that's the general consensus. I mean, I think of the recent films, the only one that is up to par compared to The Mandalorian is Rogue One. I kind of like The Last Jedi as well, but I don't think Mandalorian is better in lots of ways. But it's more traditionally Star Wars. I mean, The Last Jedi is divisive in lots of ways. It doesn't give you easy answers and it's kind of complicated, which I'm not going to get into just now. I like it, but there's lots of for some people there's lots of problems with it. But Mandalorian is more traditional, and if you're a more traditional Star Wars fan, you're going to find a lot to like here. I think it's a lot better than J.J. Abrams' films and a lot better than Solo. I think Rogue One and Solo are the ones that are most appropriate to this. They took place pre the original trilogy in the time of the Empire. This one takes place after the Empire's fallen, but the Empire's still around in small groups, and then the New Republic's now trying to take over again. It's that same field. There's criminals around. There's lots of opportunity for bounty hunters, for criminal types to make money, and it is kind of a Western space, and so that's why Rogue One and Solo feels more like it. It's like it's not part of the Skywalker thing. It might dip in and out of it a little bit, but it's not the main focus of the story. So you get cameos, but it's not. It's like they're almost in the background. It's like, yeah, they would be involved here, but we're not going to spend too much time on them, really. But to The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian takes place 5 years after the fall of Jedi and the fall of the Empire. The Mandalorian is this guy who travels around, never takes his mask off, and he's just a bounty hunter. And he's trying to prove himself as a Mandalorian and follow all the rules and prove himself worthy of the title of Mandalorian, because it means a lot to him. Into this situation, he gets a job from Werner Herzog, and playing a little part in this one as a scummy guy who sets jobs up, and he's told to find this package. The package turns out to be this little baby Yoda type character who will spend the next 2 seasons finding out about. The thing is, I can do a video on The Mandalorian just now because the first 2 seasons are kind of a story in itself. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end to the main story between The Mandalorian and Grogu, who is this creature. And it's how they create a bond with each other, and how he's trying to find, even though the Mandalorians and Jedi don't like each other, he's trying to find Jedi to take the child to, so the child can learn a Jedi way and actually progress and live up to his potential. That's basically the story of the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. So it's an act of kindness by a guy who you expect not to be kind, and he gets attached to the little creature, and he goes through hell to protect the creature, and you've got the Empire, or the remnants of the Empire, coming after it because they want his blood, and they want to use it for medical experiments, and he will not let that happen, and he develops some friendships as he goes around the galaxy on the run. He develops some friendships with ex-rebel played by the ex-MMA fighter Gina Carano. You've got Carl Weathers as a guy who lives in this desert planet and forms a bond with Mandalorian. Other people form bonds or have become enemies with him. But he just develops over time, and he interacts with different people. And he also starts to interact with people from the Clone Wars TV show and the Rebels TV show that you knew from the past. If you're a Star Wars fan, you know these shows and you know these characters like a Scortano. There's also you see him from interactions with a character from the Clone Wars, a Mandalorian character from the Clone Wars, played by Katie Sackhoff. I can't remember the name of the character. Red hair. She wants to bring back the people. So I mean, these are testy relationships at the time, but he develops relationships. He also runs into Boba Fett in the second season, who turns out to be alive but very much damaged, and you start to see Boba Fett come back together to be a fearsome character. So there's lots of interesting stories going on below the surface, like the different rivalries that are going on below the surface. Different people try to bring back the Mandalorians to be what they should be. You have a different agenda from different people, and he just tries to survive, protect the child, and get to Jedi. That's his whole job. That's his whole thing, and he will not stop. He will just keep going. He's just gonna never stop doing that because he does form a bond with the child. Even though he's not a character who expresses much emotion, you tell the kid got to him, and he wants to make sure the kid's okay, and it just becomes like a nice little father-son relationship. And there's a bond, even though the kid sometimes is in trouble, and it does make his life harder a lot of the time. He's not going to give that up. So it is just a wonderful relationship, and it's a really interesting TV show for that. But it's also a TV show about Star Wars. It's about the world of Star Wars just after Return of the Jedi. So you go back into the world where everyone's kind of worn down from the fight with the Jedi, and everyone's kind of worn down themselves. They had the big victory, but it was not an easy victory, and the Empire's still around in these little places, so it's not as easy as people thought. And you've also got the thing of people with different points of view of who was right and who was wrong. So it's into the grey areas as well. Like when some characters who are more mercenary point out, like, for most people, the Empire or the New Republic doesn't matter. They're still the people in charge. They just changed who they were. Lots of people died for that. But to the lives of a lot of people, this doesn't matter. And you have stuff like that comes in, which is quite interesting. The same way in the Clone Wars, it showed you a lot of societies that were stuck in the fight and who gets trapped within the fight, but whose societies were destroyed because of the fight. But the fight didn't care about them. And one of the reasons for that is you've got Dave Filoni, who's one of the executive producers, who he produced Clone Wars with George Lucas, and he oversaw Rebels as well. So he's one of the people behind this, as well as Jon Favreau, the director. And they're both obviously big Star Wars fans. They want it done a certain way. They want it done the way they see Star Wars. So you get the iconic imagery of Star Wars. You get some characters coming back, but you also get like them pulling away the threads of certain things that you have time to deal with in a movie, but you have time to deal with in a TV show. So there's lots of stuff like that going on. But they spend a lot of money. There's only 8 episodes a season, so it doesn't have a chance to drag on. And each episode is as long as it needs to be. Sometimes only half hour, sometimes it's 45 minutes. Each episode is cut down to, this is a story, this is what we're telling, and that's it. We're not doing any more than that. And that really works. So Mandalorian was such a success because it came after Rise of Skywalker, or during Rise of Skywalker collapse, where people were starting to burn out in Star Wars because Rise of Skywalker did not work. And this one came out and showed them how to do Star Wars right, and now there's a second season which saw some big success on Disney Plus. And now Star Wars has now become a TV thing. We're now going to get a sort of Tano show. You're going to get a Rangers of the New Republic show. You're going to get different TV shows, an Obi-Wan show. So it's showing you a way to do this Star Wars thing. It doesn't have to always be a big movie. It can be a TV show with a certain budget, and you delve into different parts of the universe and delve into different characters, and it doesn't just have to be the same old. And that's really good. That's really terrific. That's a really good advantage. I think Star Wars works better with the weird characters and the weird world. You don't always have to have the big epic story. And that's what the kind of Clone Wars show showed you. You had your epic characters like Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. You had a lot of smaller characters that built up around them. And that's what they've simply taken around from this show, is like, you've got the Mandalorian here and the child, and other characters in orbit around them, and have interesting points of view. So it's a new way of doing Star Wars that actually allows Star Wars to be Star Wars. And it's the only film that really took that on really was Rogue One, where you had a bunch of characters who were very flawed and had lots of problems, but were still trying to do the right thing, and they rise. Solo tried to do that, but didn't quite deliver. You know, because of all the problems, the change of directors. I think it just basically got to the point where it lost a lot of its intriguing elements. But Mandalorian kind of brings it back. So Mandalorian's terrific. I don't want to go on too long. I don't want to give away all the details. It's just I'm just saying that this is a really good show. I mean, there's lots of videos of Mandalorian around, but the only people going to watch this video are kind of more cinema snobbish people. Not the cinema snob character, just people who like art house films and Bresson film and stuff. So I'm just saying, if you like Star Wars, Mandalorian's good. Mandalorian's worth seeing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon with another one.